Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and this week I'm talking about writing a thesis for an essay. And the tips I'm about to give are for a basic essay, or sometimes called a 5-paragraph essay. The tips will work for any kind of essay that you're writing, but it may be altered. There's so many different kinds of essays, so I don't want you to think there's only one way. But this is a really good starting point for you, and I'll be providing an example of how to come up with a good thesis statement. Now, I have talked and written about this before, so if you're watching this on YouTube, below there will be a link to a blog and also a link to another video called Easy Peasy Thesis Writing. So those will add some extra information if you like. So have a look at those. I'll also put a link to the website as well and a coupon for the essay writing course on Udemy. Some of you have already taken, but others may be new to the program. So let's get started on writing a thesis. I'm imagining that you are given a topic, but maybe you've chosen the topic. Sometimes the teacher or professor will give you a topic. Sometimes you get to choose your own. But let's say your topic is methods to help the environment. Well, first of all, I sort of brainstormed a little bit and came up with recycling, planting trees, conserving water, carpooling, using alternative energy, and I could have brainstormed longer and come up with more ideas. Then from these ideas, I decided I'm going to plan and write my thesis about planting trees and how that connects to the environment. Now I did another brainstorm, and brainstorming is very important. You should never skip the steps in planning, and part of the plan is a bit loose. You need to just look for ideas first before you know what you're going to focus on. So planting trees for the environment. Remember, we chose that in the previous slide. I just altered the name a little bit, and then I came up with a few ideas. So beauty, extracts pollutants and creates oxygen, natural, calming, good exercise and activity, even children can get involved. Connection with nature, conserves water, trees help to hold water in the soil and create more fertile areas. Now I added a little bit of detail there, and I could have added more detail to some of these other points. And that's to help me later when I'm going to actually be writing the essay or even the more formal plan, because while the ideas pop into my mind, I jot them down or type them down. Then I have material to work with. Makes my job a lot easier later. Now you'll notice most of these are highlighted. Usually I would come up with a much longer list, so not everything would be highlighted, but this is just an example. And beauty, natural, calming, connection with nature, those are all highlighted in the same color. And you could just put numbers on them if you're doing it with pencil or pen or whatever method you want. But they're connected. To me, if I were writing a paragraph, all of those would sort of fall into the same paragraph. The extracts pollutants and creates oxygen would be a paragraph of its own, and then the conserves water would be another paragraph. So here I have three main ideas that I could include as my supporting paragraphs. Remember, in this video I'm talking about the basic essay or the 5-paragraph essay. So you would have an introduction, 3 supporting paragraphs, and a conclusion. Well, these would create my 3 supporting paragraphs. From the information on the previous slide where we brainstormed and came up with those 3 main points, I generated a thesis. And I wanted to include those points in my thesis. You don't always have to include all of your points in your thesis, and some teachers don't like that method, but many do and many teach that way. And so you could call this your working thesis if your teacher doesn't prefer that, but it will still help you in writing the essay, and then you can change your thesis to match what your teacher or professor prefers. So the thesis I came up with is one step to saving the environment is planting trees. So you see we chose that from the topic, from the main topic, which includes benefits such as exchanging pollutants for oxygen, water conservation, and reestablishing a relationship with nature. So some of those previous orange points I put together as reestablishing a relationship with nature. And I might change this thesis a little bit more as I write the essay. I'm not actually writing this essay, but if I were writing the essay, as I write it, I might come back and alter the thesis as well. This statement will come at the end of my introductory paragraph, and the 3 supporting paragraphs will begin with a topic sentence, one about exchanging pollutants, one about water conservation, and one about the relationship with nature. And you might decide to rearrange those 3 points as well. So you want to end on a strong point. And when I was first generating this, I wasn't so sure about leaving the reestablishing a relationship with nature at the end. But when I thought about it, I thought I can tie everything in together with that. If I were really writing this whole essay, I could include everything in that topic as well. So it does become a very important point. And I know how to make that work. If I didn't have such strong feelings about that one, I might rearrange it so that I end on what I feel will be my strongest point. Here I am back again. There you have it, a little bit about how to approach writing a thesis statement. First of all, I want to mention, don't stress, don't panic when it comes to writing a thesis statement. Take your time, do some brainstorming, and do some planning. Don't skip those steps. They're very, very helpful. They're helpful to you. It'll make it easier for you to write your thesis statement. It'll also make it easier to write your whole essay. It'll also make it easier for the reader. And if that's your teacher or professor, he or she will understand it, will enjoy it, and will give you a better grade. So that's important. What you want to do is some brainstorming, some planning, and narrow your topic down a little bit. Because when we first think of a topic, we usually have a lot of ideas, or we have a very vague or broad understanding of what we're going to do. You need to plan so that you know precisely where you're going. Some people might have thought when I showed the brainstorming for methods to help the environment, why didn't I just write a paragraph about recycling, a paragraph about planting trees, and a paragraph about carpooling, for example? Well, I could have done that. I could have chosen to go that direction, but all of those are very broad in themselves. I could write an essay on each one of those separately. So I wanted to narrow it down to one of them so that I could focus my attention. In that way, in my supporting paragraphs, I can be more complete in my explanation, my description, my examples. Whatever I'm going to provide in my supporting paragraphs will be much more thorough than I would be if I were doing something so broad and will end up really vague and won't really provide the reader with much information. So that's why you want to narrow it down. Now, of course, you could write a broader essay, and it's not necessarily a bad essay, but often students are far too broad. And when I read the essay, even university essays, I get to the end, I think, they never really taught me very much. They didn't tell me very much because they're far too broad. People are afraid they'll run out of ideas. What will I talk about? But if you do some brainstorming and planning, don't worry, you will come up with some very good, strong ideas. And it's better to be short, concise, and complete than it is to be really, really long and wandering all over the place and nobody really knows what you're trying to say. So I want you to practice. I'm sure you will get better with more practice. That always seems to happen. Don't forget to look at the links below. There's another blog. There's another video. There'll be a coupon for the essay writing course and also a link to the website. So you can check out my website and you can email me from there if you have any questions or comments. You can also leave them here if you're watching on YouTube, of course, down below. Don't forget to click on subscribe, like the video if you do. I hope you do. Click on the notification bell and then you'll get notifications when I make other videos about writing or other educational topics. In the meantime, keep learning and keep having fun. It's Ron from L.T.L Tutoring Central. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.